Call to order. Roll call. Director Record.
Here.
Director Wellman. Here. Director Duell.
Here.
Chair Sassett. Here. Thank you. Flag salute. Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, this is the public comment section of the meeting, and this portion of the meeting is reserved for any person desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda and over which this board has jurisdiction. Please be advised, however, the Brown Act prohibits actions on items that are not listed on the agenda or properly added to the agenda under the provisions of the Brown Act. The board members may, however, respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may act to direct staff to place a matter on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please step to the podium and state your name for the record before making your comments. Are there any members of the community this evening who would like to step forward? No? All right, we'll move on to the next item. This is item number 5, which is our Board of Directors time. This portion of the meeting is reserved for directors to present to the board and the public information, announcements, and items that may have come to their attention. No formal action will be taken. A director may request that an item be placed on a future agenda for consideration. Board?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I went out for a walk, which is a combination run and walk, the other day, and I met one of my neighbors who I'd only met once, a very elderly woman, who was asked me if I had a phone, and I don't carry a phone when I go out, just walking or anything. So I didn't have one, but I asked about what was going on, and she says, okay, her landline had been eaten through by squirrels, and she was going over to the neighbors to see if he had a cell phone, and he wasn't home. Long story short, I got a cell phone to her so she could make contact with her daughter. And it brought something to mind, and that is we obviously have a fairly good elderly population here. And a lot of them may not have cell phones and know how to use them. And what happens when they're alone? So there's this kind of a two-part issue. One is, do we have available welfare checks through the police department? And 2, would it be possible, for instance, to provide cell phones for temporary use to our elderly population who would ordinarily not have one? And I mean, this is something maybe I could put before the foundation. I don't know if Stephen's here, I don't know. But the idea, I think, would be to just buy some prepaid cell phones, you know, a couple, 3, 4, 5, have them available for when people don't have other ways to communicate. Because we all are we're semi-rural here. Some of us are more isolated than others. And that was brought home to me by, yes?
There is organizations, if we go online, that will provide free cell phone and service.
Are you talking about this would be available to the district or individually?
To the individual.
Well, I mean, this gets into a situation of I don't think this person's going to be online, at least the one I met.
Okay, if you wanted to go online, research it, and give her that information, she would qualify.
Right. Well, I mean, there are privacy issues here too, and I respect that. I mean, I have the question, well, why doesn't your daughter give you a cell phone? But I didn't ask it. It's none of my business. I'm just suggesting that this is something we might consider. But yeah, and that may be an avenue to getting it done. But my feeling is that if they're not going to have a cell phone, they're probably not going to be online either. She was 98, living alone. I'd met her once before. I didn't realize she was that old, but I thought she had people living with her, and now I'm concerned.
Stand by. Here we go. And it stops. There it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Ben, that sounds like definitely something that we could look into or at least get some more information on, and possibly the general manager could report back to us on any avenue that might be available to pursue that line.
Yeah, I know the police chief is not here, but I think we do have welfare checks available, don't we?
Yes, they respond to them frequently.
Okay. And who would initiate that? Again, I don't feel comfortable in getting into her life and her relationships and all that. So I don't want to narc on anyone, but I mean, a 98-year-old person living alone, and she doesn't have a way of contacting her daughter. It sounds like a condition for what I would consider to be a valuable or valued welfare check.
So there's multiple ways to report that into the police department. They can call the police department. They can make a report on our website. Frequently, most of them come in from either neighbors or family.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. If you need to speak, and I want to remind everybody, please step up to the podium. This is being recorded so that everybody can hear you. Appreciate it.
Sorry,
Thank you.
just my first.
Welcome.
I just wanted to point out, I'm a clinical social worker, and I just wanted to point out that one of the most appropriate ways to go about something like that is to complete a adult protective service report, and you can do that just online. And that would not only allow law enforcement, but would allow a caseworker to go out and see what she needs, the barriers to her having technology and things like that.
I'm sorry,
Thank
can
you.
you state your name, please?
Michelle Haggerty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Then the next item on our agenda is appointment of board member. Item number 6, the board will review applications from residents interested in being appointed to the board of directors to fill vacancy for remainder of Don Napier's term. And I do understand that there are a few of the applicants here this evening, so if you would like to come up and speak and introduce yourself, that would be most convenient to the board.
So, I am Jeff Stock. I live on Busher. I'm part of one of the committees here. I try to come to every board meeting we have as much as we can. I'm about 3 years into living out here. I have 2 daughters, a wife. My mother-in-law lives out here. Just want to be available and help as much as possible. All right.
Really good at this now. I'm Michelle Haggerty, Hodge as well, H-A-J-J. I have been visiting Tehachapi with family living here since the early 1990s. My grandparents lived here. Their house is still on Churchill, although they both have passed. My parents have been here about 17 years. My brother and his family also live here. I'm over on Burning Tree. I used to be on Branding Iron Court, right across the street from Gary, for about 10 years. I'm a clinical social worker. I'm currently the children's therapist at Tompkins Elementary. I've been there about 3 years. I hope to be licensed and eventually open my own practice. Maybe by July I could be licensed in clinical social work. I have 2 children. One is 18. He will be starting at Bakersfield College. He's going to be an incoming football player there. And I have a 5-year-old daughter who I bring out to Tompkins with me, who's in TK, so she'll be going into kindergarten. We did adopt her at birth, so we were really blessed with that. I'm really passionate about sports and activities and just this community in general. Thank you.
Thank you. there any other applicants this evening that are here? Wonderful, thank you.
Hi, my name is Dan Hammett. I have 40 years working in local government service with City of Alien and City of Palmdale. I'm past president of my union, so I've done labor contracts. I understand labor laws, and I'm a FEMA certified first responder. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Schlitz, and I live on Glen Eagle Court near the golf course. I've lived here 5 years. I believe it's an obligation to serve our communities. I have had the privilege of serving on many boards, not-for-profit, for-profit, government. I have some skills that I bring to that in terms of governance more generally, fundraising, social emotional intelligence, which I think kind of serves as a board member. And I guess that's it. I'm a professor. I teach psychology. I mostly teach graduate students. I have traveled the world and consider myself an ambassador to the service of our collective well-being. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Were there any others this evening? All right, board, you did have the opportunity to review the applicants, and we've been able to meet a few of the applicants. Were there any questions or concerns, or would you like to discuss?
I have two questions. Same two questions for each applicant that's here, if we can do that. Somebody want to step up, and then the rest of you will get the same question?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your interest. This is going to be a very active and difficult time for the board. And I want to hear from you what you think you can add to the group you see here to make it easier and to make things happen that haven't happened in a very long time here. So we know there are going to be funding issues coming up. We're dealing with one now, and this is just a taste. So I'm looking for someone who is really committed to more than just being here once a month to collect the stipend and make a few decisions. I think it's going to take more than that for this district to survive over the next few years.
I agree. So before the Public Safety Committee, there was the CCNR, there was the trails, there was the 5-year plan. I'd offer my service to every one of those. They got kind of kiboshed for the public safety. I'm now on that committee. I show up a little bit after 5 usually, but I'm here as much as I can. I try to make it to all the board meetings. I am here for the special board meetings. I have 25 years in construction and management. I work for the high school district now. So it's budgets, it's managing. I have the nicest high school in Lancaster. I have been recognized for that. And I don't know if I can make it easier, but I definitely know I can have good input on good strives forward to where we need to try to fix budgets, try to come up with game plans.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and ask the second question.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a question which should be no surprise to anyone who has applied for this position. And that is, why haven't you run for office? There were 3 seats available just last November.
So April's my 3rd year, so I just turned in my 3rd year. The first year I showed up to a few board meetings, kind of situated in the house, stuff like that. Second year I started coming, and that's when I heard there was a seat. I kind of missed the whole thing, but I'm not the type to jump in before I kind of get a feel for the waters. I want to know what I'm talking about, meet the people, kind of see where we're at before I jump into anything. So with this opportunity, I feel like I have tested the waters enough to know that I would like to help, see what we can do. I have 2 young daughters that I think deserve a community that we, I think, all strive for. So, all right?
Thank you, Jeff.
No problem.
I guess we're gonna call you up, Michelle. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, yeah.
What was the first question? Yeah, I really don't remember. Sorry? Somebody?
We're headed across the water.
Oh, yeah. So, this should be a fun period of time coming up, and your term runs till 28. Is that right? Yeah, 28. There's going to be a lot to do, and I want to make sure that whoever takes a position is committed to more than just coming to meetings once a month.
Yeah. I mean, I know you mentioned some challenges previously when you were asking the question. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in human services and a master's in social work, and during my master's program, I was fully trained on advocacy. How do you help those around you? Not just, so in social work we call it micro, meso, macro. So it's individuals, community, larger groups. And that's what I've been trained in. I've trained in for the last 12 years in my education. I think to answer the second question, I wouldn't have considered running previously because I couldn't have committed the amount of time that I could commit now. Working for the school district, I have a lot of time off. I'm only contracted 203 days a school year. My oldest has his driver's license now, and my 5-year-old is no longer a baby. So this is the right time for me. As I mentioned, you know, this community is everything to me, and I want to see its growth and its overall well-being continue. I want to continue raising my youngest here. I want it to be a great place for all of us.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Dan.
Well, to the first question, I'm already involved up here. I'm a chair of the personnel committee. I'm also on the foundation. So I've gotten involved, and I'm always bugging Laura Lynn about different things I see going on. So, to the second question, I was going to run last time. I even talked to you about how to do it, and my brother passed away, and I became the chair. I had to do his estate, and that took up way too much of my time.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Marilyn.
I've never met an organization or a board that didn't have challenges, and some are greater than others, and some time periods are more volatile. So I'm not at all daunted by that. I have probably successfully raised $15 million. I believe that fundraising is a team sport, so I think we have to be collaborative, we have to be creative, we really have to be dynamic in terms of thinking of options, ways, you know, getting around some of those obstacles that you talked about. I have also lost family. I lost 3 sisters 2 years ago. My husband and I moved here 5 years ago. He took a job in aerospace in Mojave. I work online. Fortunately, my school is in Costa Mesa. I go there twice a year. So it gives me an opportunity to be more flexible. And as I said before, I really do think it's an obligation for us to give back to our community. And I understand that it's fluid. Why didn't I run? I just didn't. And I'm here now. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn.
Were there any other questions from the board? All right, considering the introductions and the information and the applications, is there a nomination?
I just want to say, everybody, you acquitted yourselves well to my questions. I know that the running for the actual position on the board is always a difficult one. That's why I like to ask it. And as you may know, I have specific reasons for asking it. You are all very well qualified, and this is a very highly qualified group of people. I'm very pleased with who has shown up and shown that they would like to commit to this position. I have worked with one person over the last few months, and I know this person fairly well. And I know his commitment over the last 2 or 3 years. I think he's been to every meeting. So I would like to nominate Jeff Stock.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Marilyn.
All right, so we have 2 nominations, one for Jeff Stock and one for Marilyn, and I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce the last name. Thank you. So, we can start with the first one, which is the nomination for Jeff Stock. So, all in favor for Jeff Stock? Sorry.
Do we need a second?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we do. We need a second. So we need a second.
I would second for Jeff Stock.
All right, all in favor for Jeff Stock?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Very qualified group.
Thank you for that, and thank you for all of your applications and your time. And hopefully, we'll see you at other meetings in the near future. Okay, so our next item is our public hearing. The board will consider and receive comments from the community regarding the possible placement of a proposed special tax ballot measure to increase funding for the police department. We are declaring the hearing open. And do we have any written comments? No. Okay, then at this point, we'd like to invite to the podium any verbal comments or questions from the public. Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding the measure to increase funding for the police department? No comments? Okay. Yes. Can you come to the front? Thank you.
I wasn't able to be here for the meeting last week, but were there results from the survey?
I'll turn that over to our general manager.
Thank you. The opportunity to fill out surveys is still open, so we are still collecting them. Some members of the Public Safety Committee are in charge of collecting those and, combining the answers and the data that we're receiving. To my knowledge, to date, we've received about 91 back, which is very encouraging. And I will thank you for the segue, because I will mention that there are some at the back counter with some pens. If anyone would like to fill out a survey, it's completely anonymous, and you can drop it in the bill pay drop box on your way out if you'd like to. So thank you for that. That was absolutely perfect. But we are still collecting them, but we're encouraged by the volume of response so far.
Okay, thank you. All right, were there any other comments? Yes, thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Syverson. I don't even know how to respond to that. Yes, I want this to go through. But do we have have you firmed up any of the dates and times for the town hall meetings that were discussed?
We're gonna do that next week, aren't we, on Monday?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
So we did come up with a draft of potential dates, times, and locations. Since then, I will freely and humbly admit that that draft has sort of imploded, based on one of our meetings being the exact same time and date as high school graduation ceremony. So we don't want to compete with that.
Okay.
So there's a lot that's come out of the woodwork over the last several days that has really tossed that draft sort of out the window, and I'm currently drafting another one, and that will be reviewed at the Public Safety Committee meeting on a week from tonight at 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay. And do you, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I went and spoke to the elections office in Bakersfield. I was curious about when they send out ballots and how they collect them and all that. And the canvass period, the period of, as of 8 o'clock, August 26th, that's it. They close the ballot collection boxes, they lock them right at 8 and take it away. But then there's a period of time when people have mailed it in. Say they mailed it in Monday the 25th. There's some amount of time that they're going to wait. And I asked them how long, and they said, I don't know, it's up to you guys. Does that make sense? They run the elections, but...
Probably without participating in that conversation, I would have to get more details with that, Bill.
Okay, that's fine.
But I will reassure you that I am in constant communication with them. They are aware of where we are with our process. They are really waiting for the resolutions that are on the agenda tonight. If those resolutions are approved, they will immediately go to the elections department, and then they will start their work on their end.
Okay. So we don't even have a measure number or letter, do we?
No, we're not anywhere near that.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Larry Heasley, I'm trying to make sure I understand what's going on with this whole operation. Is all the money is supposed to go to police to support equipment, not salaries, correct?
No, that is not correct.
How does it, this small fee per property owner going to support salaries? I did some math, did a little bit of math, said, yeah, it buys you one police officer. And that's it.
Actually, I think
That's what's got me confused is this has happened before in this community where money was set aside for something, and for somehow or another it gets dumped into the general fund and doesn't go where it's supposed to go.
that will not happen. This is for the police, and there's a list that the committee came out with of the different items that it would support and how long it would support it, tentatively how long it would support it before we would need more funds. And it will support more than one police officer. It will support their salary. It will help support police officer salaries, so enhanced, not totals. It will help with equipment that is needed in the vehicles and for the persons. There's quite a few things that it will help. Have you attended any of the public safety meetings?
I've been to them, and there's a lot of noise that I'm a little hard of hearing, so I don't catch all the information. My concern is we've been funded for 5 police officers for years, and we don't have 5 police officers.
And we're short. And we're
And
short.
where does the money go that was set aside for 5 police officers?
It's never enough. It's not enough. It hasn't been enough
Well,
for a
that's what
while.
I'm thinking. This $325 a year per property is not enough.
Well, it's a start. So the difference between the 50 and the $275, that's 5 times what we're getting right now as a at what we're getting for taxes right now. And so the committee has sat down and said, this is the number that we think that we can do. This is the number we think that the community will accept. hopefully with a vote, if everyone votes that way, and they have a plan. So they presented a plan to us last month, and they haven't, they're continually presenting information to the board and to the community to help the community see exactly where the funds would go.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
So, Larry, of course, it's well known. I've been in this position about 1.5 years, so I can't really comment about how things have happened in the past. But I will explain to you that this is a special ballot measure for a special tax to fund the police department. The way that that ballot language goes out, that means by law that money has to be used for the police department. Currently, the residents of Stallion Springs pay $50 a year per parcel for the police department. That generates roughly $120,000 a year. That $120,000 a year must be used in the police department. The rest of the funds that it takes to run a police department are already in the general fund. They're already there. We're pulling it from the general fund to fund the police department. So this special tax is for police, and by law will have to be used for the police department, or it cannot be used.
I understand that.
Okay.
The numbers.
I was hoping that would clarify it for you.
The numbers don't add up for me with the verbiage that says that we could have as many as 7 officers not going.
We've never said you could have as
doesn't
many
do
as
that.
7 officers, sir. I don't know where you got that information.
Well, there was talk on the committee of ideally we would want 7 officers, but it was not that we would have 7 officers. So, there's a wish list, a want list, and there's a must-have list.
And I can encourage you to please attend that town hall. This will be covered in detail in those meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to clear that up a little bit more, the police chief was instrumental in deciding what the minimum amount we could put for the voters would be. So he was intimately in the loop there with the public safety group that made the decision. So it was both residents who were in the Public Safety Commission and the police chief who made the recommendation to the board for the $275 special tax assessment. And that tax assessment will appear on, if it passes, will appear on your tax bill once a year, I guess, along with the $50 that's already there for the $325 that you've just said. But it will be labeled for Stallion Springs PD. And by law, we can't use it for anything else. It's only for police department, and it's for everything in the police department. It's for equipment, it's for police officers, training, everything. Everything that we don't have now, or parts of what we don't have now, which is why we need it.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Were there any other? Oh, yes, please.
I'm sorry. Larry and I talk a lot, and I don't understand the math
That's
myself.
Okay. I know you, but could you introduce yourself?
I'm Dave Cox.
Thank you.
I'm team lead for Stallion Springs CERT. I know everybody on the board pretty well. You got X amount of funds for the police department that goes into the general fund. I can't remember the last time we had a full staff police department. What happens to those wages when we don't have a full staff? I remember when Neil was volunteering and the monies that was allocated for the financing of this building and the gymnasium was supposed to be turned over to the police department to offset that $50 for equipment only. So to me, if I could get some answers from the committee or whatever on the accounting of the police department, I'm highly confused.
Understood.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Thank you.
So I understand the assessment that you're referring to, and when the building was completed, that actually fell off the tax roll. And then in 2017, the residents voted again, and the current special assessment for PD passed, and that's what's currently on the tax roll.
That was a $50?
That's $50 per year per parcel.
Thank you.
I'm happy to sit down with you and go through the details of the
appreciate
budget if
that.
you would like.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay, was there any other comments?
My name is Bill Bloom. I'm in favor of this, but have we done any studies or had any studies done how it will affect the property value if this does not pass?
I don't know that there's been formal studies done to that effect, but I don't know that we would actually need a formal study in regards to what would happen if we didn't have a police department.
Well, you need a formal study if you want to publish it.
Well,
And I know off the top of my head, no police department, my property values go down.
yes.
So, but if we have a formal study or of some type, someone of authority that says, if you don't have it, you can see a reduction in your property value. And I just think if we could publish that ahead of time, it would help people make a decision, yay or nay.
General Manager, I'm going to let you take that.
Thank you. So this is part of the discussion that's occurred at the Public Safety Committee level. We do have a licensed realtor that is participating in that committee. Our attorneys have advised the district that we cannot make those statements because it would be considered advocating or steering in favor of the ballot measure. So it is up to private citizens and residents who have come together and formed a group that will be advocating, and I anticipate that being an integral part of what they will be discussing. But the district cannot put anything like that out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other comments this evening?
To answer the gentleman's question, yes, I'm trying to gather people to help advocate for this measure that's coming, and I'll reach out to some realtors, especially if they happen to live in Stallion, but those that have been around a while, working in Tehachapi, and just to get their opinion, and I'm trying to get the opinions of some law enforcement people, what their thoughts are, because I think it's important to, you know, I can't just go out to the residents and say, you know, vote yes on this. That doesn't really work. But if I can get some support from the realtors going, you know, if you don't do this, this is what can happen because it's happened in, you know, just their experience, it's happened elsewhere.
I could make a suggestion in the realtors that you're talking about, invite them to the public committee meeting. It would help, you know, house them there. Yeah, so, you know, if you have more, whoever you think would like the information, get them to the safety meeting.
Isn't Sue? Sue's a realtor, and I know there's another realtor that lives in Stallion, and her name escapes me. But and I don't know if what 2 or 3 GMs ago, what was her name? Mary Beth. Can't think of her last name. Her husband.
Madam Chair, if I may. Those of you who know my resume know I used to wear that hat. I'm a licensed real estate broker. There is an organization called the Tehachapi Area Association of Realtors, and I can put you in direct contact with them.
You might want to
Well,
contact Daryl Christensen.
That's not gonna, I know you can't help with advocacy, so I'm kind of, I don't want to put you in a.
That's not. I'll just give you their contact information. It's on Google. I'm not giving you anything that's not public knowledge.
Okay.
And they have access to all of the local realtor members.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? All right, if there are no other comments, then I need a motion to close the hearing.
I have a question,
yep.
About section 3. It looks like this is just an example, but, the actual, measure here is text off to the left and a yes and a no on the right. Are those like going to be fill-in bubbles like normal, or is this going to be what it looks like? This section 3 on the,
I'm sorry, we just have the public hearing open right now. We're not addressing the resolutions yet.
oh, okay. Oh, we went past it.
I was lost.
Need a motion to close the hearing? Yes. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Hearing closed. Item number 8 on the agenda is Resolution 2025-05, resolution requesting the Board of Supervisors of Kern County to render election services to the district relating to the conduct of a special all-mail ballot election to be held Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Okay, so the resolution is for the Board of Directors of the Stallion Springs Community Service District, calling for the placement of a special tax measure on the ballot at an August 26, 2025 special all-mail ballot district election for the submission to the qualified voters of a proposed ordinance enacting a special parcel tax upon property within the district to fund police protection services.
So Director Dole, was it page 3 you were referring to on this resolution where it says yes or no in the...
Section 3, yes, page 3.
Okay, so that's a sample that we have to submit to the Board of Supervisors and the Elections Department, our ballot language. So that's a sample of what the ballot language would look like and what the vote would look like.
Well, I guess it just doesn't look like a normal ballot selection there with the yes and the no. The question was simply, is this just our rendering of it and they're going to change it to bubbles to fill in, or?
Yes, we just have to submit the language to them.
Okay.
And they create the ballot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, then we need a motion.
Okay, I make a motion, for resolution 2025-05, resolution requesting the Board of Supervisors of Kern County to render election services to the district relating to the conduct of a special, all-mail ballot election to be held on Tuesday, August 26, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 9 is the resolution 2025-06, resolution calling for the placement of a special tax measure on the ballot on August 26, 2025. Are there any questions? If there are no questions or comments, then we need a motion.
I move that we place a special tax measure on the ballot on August 26, 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. All right. That is everything that we have on our agenda for this evening, so we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything this evening.